Okay, so you're here because you want to get smart quickly and really understand things without feeling totally overwhelmed. And, well, that's what we do here on the Deep Dive. Today we're looking into something pretty interesting, this idea of a soft shift into higher consciousness, into spiritual growth. We're using a blog post from Netta Vibes as our guide.
Yeah, it's a great piece. And what's key is that it's not about some huge dramatic overhaul. It's more of a gentle opening up, tapping into awareness that's, already inside you.
Exactly. Gentle. I like that. So our source is this blog post focusing on personal growth, mindfulness, that kind of area. Our mission today, really pull out the practical stuff. How can you actually bring more awareness into your daily life? Gently, we'll look at the tips they give, what higher awareness actually means, and there's mention of a journal tool too.
Right. Let's start with defining this soft shift and higher consciousness. The blog post frames it in a really helpful way, I think. It's not about learning some brand new, complicated concept.
Oh, good. Sometimes these spiritual terms sound like you need a PhD.
Huh, exactly. No, it's presented much more as a process of remembering, like remembering a deeper state of awareness, of mindfulness that you actually already have. It's like peeling back layers, maybe.
Huh,
So not adding more stuff to who I am, but uncovering what's under the surface.
precisely. And the soft part is key. The post really emphasizes how graceful and intuitive this can be. It's all about being present. It's about aligning with your own truth, as the blog puts it, and just getting a better handle on your own patterns.
Okay, a kinder, gentler way to look at growth. I like that. So the first specific tip mentioned is honoring the flow of awareness. What does that look like in practice?
Well, the big distinction they make is between thinking and feeling. It suggests awareness is less about thinking harder
Yeah.
and more about feeling deeper, which kind of aligns with a lot of thinking around emotional intelligence. Our intuition often picks up on things way faster than our analytical brain.
So trusting those gut feelings, the little nudges we sometimes ignore because they don't seem logical. Exactly that. The soft shift is about paying attention to those subtle cues, those energies, and it's about being present with what is rather than always chasing some idea of perfection. Looking back at things with curiosity, maybe, instead of judgment or shame.
And the post mentions ways to notice this, right? Like how your energy changes around certain people or when specific thoughts pop up.
Yes, it calls them clues, little signals from your inner world. It's just about tuning in more consciously to your own internal landscape.
That seems to lead right into the next idea, using mindfulness as the bridge. We hear mindfulness all the time, but how does the blog connect it to this soft shift?
Yeah, it's framed really nicely as the connection between what it calls the lower self, maybe our more reactive ego side, and the higher self, which is
Yeah.
more about intuition, compassion, awareness. And it pushes beyond just like sitting down to meditate for 10 minutes. It's more about this gentle noticing, noticing thoughts, reactions, feelings, without immediately getting swept away by them.
So creating a bit of distance
Hmm.
between the feeling and your identification with it.
Exactly. The post talks about watching yourself from the observer seat with love. That self-compassion piece is huge. And it really stresses being mindful, like as a way of operating in the world, not just doing mindfulness like another chore.
Okay, so what does being mindful actually look like day to day then?
Well, it could be things like just slowing down a bit, trusting your internal timing instead of always rushing, allowing things to unfold naturally sometimes rather than trying to force every outcome. The post suggests that this kind of inner stillness is really the bedrock of genuine spiritual growth. It's in that quiet space that the deeper stuff can actually surface and take hold.
That makes sense. It's hard to hear the quiet signals when everything's loud and fast.
Yeah.
The post also talks about self-union, framing growth as coming home to you. That sounds really nice, actually.
It really is. And it's such a compassionate way to look at it, isn't it? It contrasts this gentle approach with how we sometimes push ourselves, always needing to fix something, always critical. The higher path, it suggests, is softer, kinder.
So it's fundamentally about being nicer to ourselves during the process.
Absolutely. Your higher self isn't looking for perfection, the post argues. It's looking for your presence. Self-union means connecting with all of you, the parts you like, and maybe the parts you find difficult or try to hide, seeing them all as teachers. It's about integration, not trying to cut off parts of yourself. Like if you make a mistake, instead of just feeling awful, you try to understand why and what you learned, accepting the whole package, basically.
And this inner peace, this acceptance, how does that help with growth?
The idea is that when you create that safe inner space, that self-union, your soul, as the post puts it, has room to breathe and rise, True transformation comes from remembering who you really are at your core, your divine truth, not from trying to become someone else entirely.
And this is where that resource comes in, the Abundance Planner, Gratitude and Intent Digital Journal.
Exactly. It's mentioned as a practical way to help you do this, to consciously align your days with purpose, with gratitude. It's a tool that directly supports that idea of self-union and living more from that centered place.
Got it. Okay, the third tip then, the power of spiritual simplicity. This really seems to nail the soft shift idea, no big drama needed.
Yeah, totally. It cuts through that myth that growth has to be this huge, painful struggle. The post makes a beautiful point that higher awareness often shows up in really ordinary small moments. You don't need a mountaintop revelation every week.
Like what kind of small things we're talking about?
Oh, things like really savoring your morning coffee in silence, or
Hmm.
taking that one conscious breath before you snap back at someone, maybe offering yourself or someone else just a little bit of gentle forgiveness. These little acts, the blog says, create ripples of higher consciousness. They gently nudge you back into alignment with, like, your soul's frequency.
Finding the profound in the everyday,
Right.
basically.
Exactly. Letting go of the need for everything to be complex or dramatic actually creates space for clarity, for freedom. It's moving from chasing meaning out there to actually living it right here in the simple stuff.
So as this awareness deepens through these simpler, softer ways, the post says we start living from the higher self. How does that actually show up? What changes?
Well, it manifests in pretty tangible ways. Maybe your decisions start coming from a place of quiet knowing rather than anxiety or pressure. You might choose relationships more consciously based on real connection, not just habit. Your time starts to feel more sacred. Your words become more intentional.
But it doesn't mean life suddenly becomes perfect, right? No more problems.
Oh, definitely not. The post is clear on that. It's not about achieving flawlessness. It's more about being more deeply rooted in yourself, in your authentic core, even when things are difficult. That centeredness becomes your strength. And interestingly, that grounded presence can naturally inspire people around you too.
The post wraps up with the invitation to expand. Sounds hopeful.
It really is. It's a gentle reminder that, hey, if you're even thinking about this stuff, you're already on the path. The soft shift doesn't demand you have it all figured out. Just openness, curiosity, kindness to yourself along the way.
And that every moment is an opportunity.
Precisely. Every breath is a portal. Every moment is a practice. It boils down to those small, conscious choices you make all day long, choosing awareness instead of just reacting, choosing love over fear, presence over distraction. Each choice adds up.
Okay, so wrapping this up, our deep dive into this Netta Vibes post really highlights a gentler way to think about spiritual growth. This soft shift happens through mindfulness, through self-compassion, and really finding the power in simplicity.
Absolutely. And it really invites you, the listener, to think about where these kinds of soft shifts might already be happening in your life, maybe without you even labeling them that way.
Yeah, definitely something to reflect on. Like, what little inner nudges have you maybe ignored lately? Or how could you build just a few more mindful moments into your regular day, even tiny ones?
And if this resonates, if you want to keep exploring these ideas, the Netta Vibes post does suggest signing up for their newsletter. They apparently share more mindful insights, tools, freebies, special offers. It's a way to stay connected and keep deepening this exploration if it feels right for you.
Good to know. A great resource, potentially. So, as you go about your day, maybe just hold on to that core invitation. Be gentle with yourself on this journey. Trust that quiet inner voice and have a little faith in how things are unfolding for you.